Hello, I'm Ashley, and I'm currently a student in New World School of the Arts, and today I'm going to be talking about my sustained investigation for my 3D AP sculpture class. So let's start off by kind of explaining what sustained investigation means. A sustained investigation is a focused and in-depth exploration of artistic concept or theme over an extended period of time. Now, this is where you're going to have to pick what you want to do for your research. So on College Board, it's kind of like two tests you're going to be taking. So we have images, obviously the sculptures you're making out of your sustained investigation, and then written evidence, which is asked two questions about your sustained investigation or SI. So my sustained investigation or SI, here's question number one they're going to be asking you is identify the inquiry that guided your sustained investigation, max 600 characters and spaces. This part can be tricky because I struggled a lot with that, so make sure you're paying attention to that. Now this is my answer. How can I portray the consequences of dog fighting / dog abuse? My SI focuses on the abuse my dog went through when she was little, such as physical trauma, broken bones, etc., as well as severe mental distress like anxiety, fear, and aggression due to past experiences. These effects can last a lifetime, impacting their ability to trust and form healthy relationships with their new families. I want to illustrate the pain my dog went through. My sculptures understanding these effects is crucial to advocate for stronger animal care. You definitely want to make sure you put how can I portray blah 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 your concept, because that kind of this is explaining your concept and what you want to show through your sculptures. So question number two is describe ways your sustained investigation developed through practice, experimentation, and revision. Same thing, max 600 characters and spaces. This is my answer. Through my sustained investigation on the effects of abuse on my dog went through, I developed my understanding by practice, experimentation, and revision. These are very important parts here, revision especially. So make sure you have that in. I started by experimenting with different materials like clay, cardboard, paper, and fabric. This is very important. Make sure you're explaining and showing, well, telling the different materials you are experimenting with. However, I chose clay because it helped me portray the pain I'm trying to show. Very important, make sure you're explaining what you're saying. So you can't really give a reason and not explain why, so make sure you're explaining. For example, I used clay for all my pieces to be able to mold and show the pain. Then I look back at my work and I revised works 4 and 12 and added more to them. For number 4, I added more chains to make the dog look more sophisticated, and since it's supposed to show how dogs are trained up. Very important part 2 here, make sure you cite your work, so when the professors kind of read this and then they go back and look at works 4 and 12, they're like, oh yeah, her stuff matches up with her write-up, so you want to make sure your stuff connects. Now let's move on to sculptures. So for sculptures, you have 15 slots you can fill in. You do not have to do 15 sculptures, but if you want to, you can. But what I did was make 11 sculptures and 3 processes and 1 revision. This is one of the processes I made. So a process is kind of, well, it's pretty much showing your process of your sculpture. So you want to explain your concept of your piece. Make sure you label where your process going, so 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes your process can kind of get cluttered with a bunch of images, and then the professor won't really know where it starts or ends. This is really important. Make sure you're organized. So 1, 2, and 3. This is a process of paw print memorial. So right here I'm going to read. This piece shows a trail of dog paw prints which are forming a memorial honoring dogs lost to fighting. Number 1, I started by making paw prints out of clay and then painted them to add more details. Number 2, then I started to work on the base, which is a piece of cardboard which I painted and then added fake moss and real leaves I collected. Number 3, I kept adding more into the base to make it more full. And then obviously the final piece. This is the final piece. I put everything together and fixed a few things. Make sure you show your final piece so they kind of see what all of your steps turn into. Here are more of my processes. This one and this one, same layout and everything. Now, last part of what you can do are revisions. Revisions are really important for me because I think they show a lot of your growth through the sustained investigation. So kind of this was my before, this is my after. Revision is chained up. I kind of wrote here in the middle why and what I did. Was the piece before. The idea for this is how dogs are physically and mentally chained up. So I felt like I needed more chains to make it look more suffocated because I didn't really think it had enough chains. So obviously we have before and after. Make sure you're showing a lot of your afters. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this little quick video. I'm wishing you luck for the class you're taking, and thank you for watching. Bye!